Mm.
Evening, everyone.
Yeah.
Hello,
Hi.
how are you?
How's things been going for you, Kevin?
Really good at the minute, Vince. I'm on holiday, so all is well. We're up at Moffat Beach, Sunshine Coast, last night. So I thought I'd sit in here. I didn't want to show off the beach. It's a bit loud out there. But how am I going? Yeah, just going through my stuff as usual. Whatever comes up. It's better on holiday, actually. Got more time to look at myself. My wife's just going out for a swim.
Mm. So when you say look at yourself, what does that involve?
Well, I know you said not to, but I'm still reading Jed McKenna, and he says something about look at the past, like we're not really in the present. Everything is through the filter of the past. So I'm kind of sitting with that at the moment, rightly or wrongly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. No, wrongly. Can't be no right or wrong. But yeah,
Okay.
and you don't have to do what I say. That's for sure. Yeah.
Oh, I respect you, and it's just even the grasping, obviously, for enlightenment is going down the wrong track. But I don't
Mm.
know. That's where I'm at the minute. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a bit of a tricky one. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not about respect. It's not about, whatever. So, having said what I said
Yeah.
about, constantly chasing this stuff, you that will be in the back of your mind that's not probably going to get you there in itself.
Mm, I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, my experience with Jed McKenna is that,
Mm,
yeah, you're probably addicted to the high that you get from reading it.
yeah.
I certainly was. I got really addicted to that high. I listened to his audio books repeatedly
Yeah. I
because,
think I'm addicted, as you say, to I resonate with some of the stuff he says, and
yeah,
I've gone around in circles for over a
look,
decade,
yeah, yeah.
and I'm sick of it.
Can you appreciate that what he's inviting you to do is think about stuff?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that's what I mean when I say that. That's not the answer into thinking about it. Of
Right.
course, thoughts will still happen. You can't not have thoughts,
Yeah.
but it's interesting and tricky because thoughts can have a whole lot of different purposes, if you like,
Oh
and
yeah.
sometimes the purpose of a thought stream is to take you away from feeling uncomfortable. That's a distraction kind of thing. Other times it's to make you feel good. So we have a fantasy about something and we feel good about it. Yeah, there's a good
Yeah.
feeling in the body as a
Yeah.
result of those thoughts. So
Yeah.
what seems to happen is that thoughts become a great way for a short-term fix.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm still addicted to the dopamine fix on Facebook. I put up a video of me playing guitar, and only 20 people like it, and I'm thinking, what the hell? So I'm still fully in my stuff.
Mm.
Yeah.
Which is great in that you see that,
Mm,
you recognize that. Okay,
mm,
you don't have to say,
yeah.
therefore I shouldn't be, because it is what it is, what it is.
Right.
And so there you are, right? And
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with that, and there's nothing right with it either. It's just not, it is just what it is. So here you are. And if you can
Yeah.
recognize that in how can I put it, a dispassionate way, right, without the
Yeah.
judgment, without the opinion, then that enables it to change.
Right. yeah, I can see that. There's less. There is less judgment about myself. It's just I don't know. It's more about you know, emotionally why people didn't like that particular thing I put up. I don't know. So it's ego. Yeah.
Okay, so remember, you probably don't, but I'm going to remind you that I said it's never about what comes up. It's always about what triggers that, right? So you can
I
dismiss
don't
that
remember that.
as ego, but that's not what it's about, right? So there is this disappointment that you didn't get more likes, right?
Yeah.
People didn't. And how many would you have had to get 38 and a half in order to feel okay
Yeah.
about it? Or would there never
Yeah.
have been enough
And
likes to feel good about it? Or
no, so 38 and a half would have been right.
that,
20 was less.
yeah,
But I almost didn't hear what you said. It's not about what's happening, it's about what's triggered it. That was that what you said?
yep, yep,
Right.
you got it. Yeah.
My particular okay.
So
What triggered it?
what's underneath
Gotcha.
this well, I don't know about accuracy of words here. What's underneath this need or want
Yeah.
for, what would you call it? Approval
Oh,
or
yeah. Obvious.
more than
It's obvious.
approval?
It's
Something a bit different?
no. It's. I think it's lack of self worth.
Right.
That's it. So I'm getting my little dopamine fix.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then you just said it though. So that's it. The amazing thing is the words reveal a lot, right? So you didn't say I needed a dopamine fix to start with.
Yeah.
What you said was, um, I've forgotten the word you said now. You said,
Have I said I was disappointed?
you
Yeah, a
said
bit of a millennium thing to
something
say,
about
but yeah.
approval. I need,
Mm,
I
yeah,
need,
yeah, there was.
was it that?
Yeah, it's that. Uh, yeah, it may not have been those words, but that was implied. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, something along those lines. Yeah. So that's what's underneath that particular thing,
Mm,
let's say.
mm,
And
mm.
then we go underneath that and we go, oh yeah, how long has it been in my life that I've been an active seeker of approval?
Long time,
Right,
long time, long as I can remember. Yeah.
right. And that
Uh,
will that will go back.
I nearly went. Sorry.
You going?
I nearly went straight out. We're at the coast today. I nearly went straight out and did another video to compensate for that one's lack of success. So it's quite immature. But this time I sat with it and went, you know what? You don't need to do that. Just enjoy your holiday. Relax. So I did sit with that for a while.
Hmm.
So um, yeah, it's slightly sad in a way. Hmm.
So can I can I convey to you
Yeah,
the the lack of necessity for all of that compounded thinking that goes on about what it means? Right? That's a
thank
lot of
you.
words, I know, but what I'm trying to say
No,
is, if you just go, oh, I expected more likes than that, and I didn't get it. Isn't it interesting what I'm feeling?
yeah, that's a better way of doing it. Yeah, it's like not enough presents at Christmas, that kind of feeling. Yeah,
Yeah, so maybe it's a technical thing. Maybe the stuff that you put up there didn't appeal to the audience you were giving it, you
yeah,
were focusing on, or who knows, what it is. Yeah. What
yeah. It
what's
was a bit
what
more
you're
about
missing out
melancholy.
entirely is what you put into it. Right? When you were
Yeah,
making
big
the
time.
video, were you focused entirely on the response you were going to get or hoping to get? or were you
That's
involved
exactly it.
in the music itself?
I loved the song, and I spent a good. It was different sort of tuning, therefore different fingering. It's quite hard picking, so I had to change the way I play a bit. Spent weeks on it. Did it. Amazing sunrise, and few technical issues. Did a few takes, bolstered up each one. First take was the best. Yeah.
So have you got a bit of a recording studio at
Hello.
home? Shit internet on the Gold Coast. You back? Yes, you are.
Hello.
Yep, you're back. You froze up for a moment there and then disappeared and came back, and now you're frozen
I
again.
think the Wi-Fi here has died. Sorry, I'll have to leave.
Okay, come back if you can. Come back on your phone if you want. Yeah.
Yeah, I might have to. The Wi-Fi here is playing up. Sorry, maybe
Just reset it,
just
turn it off
quickly.
and back on again. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I did, Vincent. Yeah, I don't want to mess up the meeting with this. Sorry, I thought the Wi-Fi here could handle it. Maybe
You're
not.
not, you're not going to mess up the meeting. Who gives a shit about that stuff?
Okay.
Huh? Nobody that I know. Yeah.
I do.
Hmm.
No, I think you've nailed it. I put a lot of time and effort into it, and it was purely, yeah, it wasn't pure enjoyment of music. I was sharing it was sort of look at me kind of attitude.
Hmm. And all that effort that you
Yeah.
put into it,
So I need,
you missed out on an incredible amount of enjoyment while you were doing that because you were focused on the end
for
result,
sure.
the outcome.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. Lock myself away. Yeah.
Mm.
So yeah, I need to sit with that. You're right. What was the root of that? Um, yeah. So
So just take with you that
forget
meme that
about being
says,
enlightened.
take with you that meme that it's never about what comes up, it's always about what triggers it. And that will change your focus to
That's
what's
awesome.
underneath, behind. Yeah.
That's gold. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll sit in the background for a while. Thanks.
Vince, I asked you if you had heard about the works of Gurdjieff. What do you
Yeah.
think about him?
Oh, look, it's so far back in my past that I don't actually remember much about it. Um, it would have been in the early part of my seeking that I found him. So it would be 50 years ago that I read Gurdjieff. Um, and so, of course, I was reading it from a non-awakened perspective as well. That would change things. There's a whole lot of people from that era that I read that seemed to be onto something, but it was always a bit muddy and it wasn't really clear what they were saying. But I mean, I should read him again if to answer your question. Mm. What what brought up that question? What?
No, it's because I was very interested in his works recently. I've been reading a lot of his books, and his second book, uh, the Tales of Beelzebub to his grandson, it's written in a way that it can actually, if you are depending on what stage of awakening you are, it can help you to stop your thoughts because of the style that he wrote the book. I found it quite interesting. You will realize that actually words, if you are early into that stage, you will finally get that glimpse that actually words, they only have meaning because of each other.
Mm,
If there's nothing to connect, then there's no words. I'm sorry, then there's no meaning.
mm.
That's quite interesting because it's a kind of a visceral insight that you have. Your mind, your intellectual mind simply stops and then comes back. He does this a lot in the book. It just stops and comes back. And then you can see that shift, that pattern, that difference. So it's very interesting to read this book. I'm sure that a lot of people that just by reading this book, they don't even need to really understand what he's saying, but just by reading it, you will surely get a glimpse of how this association process of the mind works. It's very interesting.
Yeah, good. What was the title of that one?
The Tales of Beelzebub to His Grandson.
Okay.
I think it's that title.
Yeah, I'll have a look at that. That'll be interesting to um, see how he uses words. See, that also translates into thoughts. No thought has any meaning except for other thoughts. Every thought is in relationship to another thought, and no thought knows anything. Mm.
Oh, but there's a correct way to read his book. You can't jump the words that he makes up because he does that on purpose. You should read and actually really read the words in your mind. Don't jump, don't skip the
Yeah.
words that he is inventing. You should read them because if you skip them, you won't get it. You won't have the insight.
Yeah, good one. Yeah, yeah. And just so everybody knows, Dennis has put a link to the Wikipedia page on that one in the chat. Yeah.
Also, Gurdjieff has some quite. He had an insight in something that I thought that was very interesting. Like a lot of the things that we think and feel, they might be caused just for our posture, for example. Maybe you are just sitting down on a bench in a park and then you have that some strange feeling, but that's just because of a somatic memory. You're just remembering some situation that was quite alike in the past, and actually it has nothing to do what is happening now. It's just because of the way that your body is, or by some other elements in the
Yeah.
surroundings. Your mind makes the association, but then you might get tricked into thinking that actually that's real, that problem is actual now in that moment. But no, you're just remembering,
Mm.
in a somatic way, some other situation alike in the past.
Yep. Yep.
Like
Again, it's not about what comes up; it's about what triggers it.
exactly like what our friend was just saying a while ago about lack of self-esteem or something like that. Maybe you don't have a lack of self-esteem now. Maybe you're just in a situation, and I mean something very like just sitting in a specific cushion, or sofa, but your somatic memory is recovering that sensation of lack of self-esteem that you had in the past, and then you began to concoct stories about that feeling again. But actually that's an illusion. Maybe you don't have a low self-esteem. That's a quite interesting thing to
Yep.
to
Yeah,
observe.
thank you. That's good.
And it's what I notice is, if we go back to what triggered it, and then we go back to what triggered that, next thing we're back to being a young child, and no matter what we do, it's not good enough. And it's that, as Matthias is saying, it's that somatic memory of that stuff. I like that. Somatic memory. Yes.
Yeah, I think that's spot on. I think I'm avoiding that. I've I've listened to your meditation, Vincent, and yeah, my brain just switches off and I fall asleep. I've yet to make it through
Mm.
the whole thing. So there's something avoidance there. Yeah,
Yep. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. That's
it's
pretty
a good
full on.
meditation.
Yeah.
Mm.
Maybe if you've had a couple of goes at it and you haven't got all the way through, next time start halfway through.
Oh, yeah, good move. Never thought of that. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
What's amusing, Dennis?
Oh, just when you said about your meditation, I haven't even looked at it yet. So at least he's halfway through it. I haven't even looked at it. Yeah.
I think you'll find it valuable.
I'll
It's
give it a go tonight, Vince.
yeah. Don't put any pressure on yourself. But yeah, it's amazing how much of this stuff comes back to the same thing. You know, I've been doing this for say 14 years, and it's only recently that I've realised how much that infantile trauma plays in our current situation. Just such a huge thing. Yeah.
And that would resonate with me, Vince. Is the meditation designed to help with that? And how does it help?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Um, the the intent is that it's a couple of things come up. Um, I didn't make a big deal of it in the didn't make a deal of it at all in the meditation, but a really good example I have of what's come up a couple of times is that if you take a young you who's been traumatized and has developed a whole lot of somatic memory about that, it's cellular memory, in, right? As the young you that didn't have the resources to cope with what was going on, and so in the end, the only thing they can do is dissociate from the pain, from the trauma of it. Right. Well, if you can imagine that young you still exists, and he's there, and he's got his heels dug in, and he's holding on to two bits of this surgical rubber, like you put in a Shanghai or a slingshot, right? And those at the other end of those two bits of rubber are embedded in your back, and no matter how far you try and get away from that young fellow, right, all you're going to do is stretch that stuff, and the moment you relax, you're back to that state. So here's this young you locked in the past, holding on to you, stopping you from moving forward. And so so that's probably where the meditation takes up. I should do something on that one as well. But anyway, but the meditation takes up where what you do is you go back into the past to that young you, and you sit beside him on a bench, and you sit really close, and you, using emotion, you communicate to him things that he didn't know at the time because of his naivety, because of his innocence. And that is that what was going on was circumstances impacting on him. Right? All of the other people involved in the situation were just also innocent in that they were just projecting their own shit. And so, But the infant can't see that. He can only take it personally because he's got no way of defending against that, and it becomes overwhelming, the trauma. So we have to dissociate in order to continue living.
Yeah,
And so
I
what you
think
do is you sit beside him and you use emotion to communicate that innocence to him, and you take away the blame and the shame and the guilt by doing that. And at a certain point, that young person will lean into you and start to merge with you. And at that point, you pick him up and bring him back into the present with this new understanding of the circumstances then. And so then you integrate. So he's no longer locked back in the past. He's in your present. He's in you, and there's no getting away from that. He's not ever going to be not in you, but he's no longer holding you back. He's with you now in the present. And so we've got this collapse of time, right? So it's amazing how time, when we think of the idea of time, you know, here's a young you all those years ago, still exerting influence on the way you are now. And what we do is we bring him back into the present. We collapse the time difference between then and now. Right? So it's not that it never happened. It's just that the influence of it isn't there anymore.
I think
But of
that's
course,
spot on, Vincent.
sorry?
Sorry to interrupt. I think that's spot on in my case. I just realized when you were talking there that I used the guitar as a distraction from trauma in my life. So living in Germany, going to school in Düsseldorf, but living in Holland, going back and forward, I went straight to my room and played the guitar. So I think with the Facebook thing, the reason I'm disappointed is I'm actually sharing my distraction from my trauma.
Yeah.
So there's something there that's burst my bubble or something. So I'll sit with that. So thank you for that.
It can just morph. It doesn't have to be gone. But the reason that so you can say, well, that distractive behavior has turned out pretty good because now I can play the guitar. So you can now play the guitar free of that. And boy, I'll bet you'll find it different.
Yeah, enjoyable. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
You no longer work. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
So the thing is that we don't need to specify the trauma that happened then, right? We'll know it. We'll just know that what it was that we could never be good enough, or we were never up to scratch, or no matter how hard we tried, it wasn't enough, or whatever it was that our particular trauma was. It's irrelevant, the actual trauma. That child sitting there is just a manifestation of that trauma. And you're going to more metamorphise it in a sense when you bring it back into you. It'll come back into you with your adult understanding of the situation that the child never had and never could have.
Yeah, you've kind of done the meditation there, Vince. Really, you can feel it.
And I'd love feedback on it too. If anybody, wants to, feels that it could be more in one area or less in that area or whatever, however different or whatever, I'd be always interested in that. I mean, what I've posted there, the link. Oh, did I post it? Is version number 3. No, I didn't post it. I'll do it now.
Maybe Kevin could share a guitar string to play in the background.
Yeah, that would be a
Yeah,
good. Yeah, I had trouble finding.
I can do that.
Yeah.
Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these broken wings and learn to fly all your life. You're only waiting for the. Ha! I forgot I retuned it to yellow. Sorry about that.
No, I remember Adji used to have this sort of thing, and the music would be a guitar playing in the background, and it was beautiful. There's something about a nice slow guitar that just melts things. So I'm just, yeah, some meditations go nice with a bit of music or a bit of slow guitar. It kind of
Yeah.
greases the wheels a little bit.
Yeah, for me, the guitar, or not just the guitar, music, particularly ambient music, or as my granddaughter calls it, creepy music. It opens the heart, really opens the heart. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, I had trouble finding. I did this third version. I did put some music in the background, but I had trouble finding music, and I didn't want to rip off anybody's music.
Mm.
I tried to get AI to write me some music, but that didn't work. Um,
Yeah.
so
Yeah, I'm terrible with lyrics. I asked AI to write a song, and it was too good, actually.
yeah, yeah.
It's come back and bite me. Yeah. Yeah,
It's a good
scary.
place to start sometimes. You can get it to write it, and then you can revamp it the same thing, yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's what's kind of what I did. Yeah. Turned out
Well,
real good.
there's a new Kevin, there's a new sort of role, job, like you know the way jobs change every couple of years. There's a job called a prompt engineer. And that's essentially somebody who knows how
Okay.
to kind of get the most out of an AI solution, how to ask the question, how to qualify it, give it criteria, and kind of shape your question really well. Then you might get the
Wow.
lyrics that you need.
Yeah, that's a big thing. That I mean, I use AI to
Yeah.
generate images for a website that I work on, and
Yeah.
uh, it's amazing what how you start off with I want a red rooster, and it gives you something, and that's not quite right. So you end up you change it and change it and change it, and in the end you write something like, um, oh, I don't know, just make it up, a cock with a sunset in the background. And then it gives you the red rooster. But you gotta kind of keep working until you work out what it deciphers as the right thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Confusion. I saw an awesome meme the other day. It was an otter at a job interview, an otter called Steve, and the employer was saying, "How do you are you able to perform under pressure?" And the otter thinks to himself, "Well, I'm not 100% sure of the lyrics, but I'll give it a go." You know the Queen song, Under Pressure?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Funniest thing I've seen. Oh,
Uh, That reminds me of your joke, Paul. I think it was you, Paul, that showed us the joke about the guy who couldn't lift his arm, and the lawyer was saying, or the judge was saying, how high can you lift it now? About to here, and how high could you lift it before the accident here? Was that you, Paul? You're on mute, Paul. Sorry. I think it was Paul, unless someone else told it to me. But I was telling other people, and they're having great fun with it.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
sorry,
hadn't heard it
I
before,
was
but
muted. I've told so many lawyer jokes I don't remember. I've heard that one before, so I might have, but yeah, yeah. Oh, okay.
so how have you been, Liam?
I've been okay. I've been I guess I've been experiencing with thinking about all my thoughts as bullshit. which is which is along the same lines as not really referring to anything real. And that's been I have to do a lot of logistical thinking these days, so there are things I need to there is some thinking that I need to do.
and you can excuse them. You know, there certainly there are. I mean, it's a big generalization to say they're all bullshit. You know, that we start with, but it's a good place to start, and then out of that we get useful thoughts that turn up. Yeah.
Yeah. But a lot of them, I mean, a lot of just the narratives running about different things can be like the kind of the perennial commentary is actually bullshit.
Mm.
And it is pretty clearly bullshit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So does that mean that your experience is that you're not getting sucked into the the storyline of that stuff anymore?
Less so, I would say. I mean, really, really like I find that when I get sucked in the least is if I actually go on a retreat where I'm not talking to anybody. Um, but it definitely helps just to think of them as bullshit and just other than when I really need to think about something or answer somebody or that kind of thing.
It's probably the big first thing we need to do is we need to break the association between our thoughts and our responses. And once we can do that, get freed of being a slave to our thoughts, then we've got the potential to see what's actually going on. But see, the thoughts are so pervasive that they can obscure what's really happening.
Sure.
And remember, Liam, they're all bullshit. It's just another thought.
Yes. It is. Yeah, but
Mhm.
just coming back to sensations and to the seeing and the hearing and smelling.
Yeah, there's a really interesting one that says the body never lies and thoughts will always lie. But but the body doesn't lie is worth looking at a little bit. And when we go the body doesn't lie, we can say that the body reaction to things, and that is not the thought reaction and then the body after the thoughts, but rather the direct body reaction to things is the body is going to tell you without any modification, it's going to tell you what it sees as going on. So if you have a body no, a contraction, it's quite clear that that's what the body says. You know, if you have a body yes and it's an expansion and opening, then you can go yes, it's quite clear what that's about. But the body can believe something because of conditioning, and it will give you an authentic response to what it believes, but what it believes is wrong. So the body, although it never lies, it can produce a lie. But don't get locked into that one. Don't worry too much about that. But just remember that the body's reaction, if you can capture that or get a hint of that before thoughts turn up to corrupt it, then you're much closer to what is actually going on for you.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And it's a bit of a trick. You know, we talk about direct experiencing. This is what direct experience is. And that's that millisecond of experience before thoughts turn up to explain, describe, change, whatever they're going to do. Yeah. So we're learning.
There's a,
They're going.
there's a good exercise for this. It's kind of meditation. Just watch a movie and don't think. But I mean, I know we can't stop our thoughts, all right. But I mean, Just watch a movie and pay attention to your body sensations, the reactions that you get while watching that movie, and don't pay attention to your thoughts. Just feel with the body. Watch the movie with your body. That's a very good exercise to grow that awareness.
Yeah, that sounds good. And if thoughts start getting in there again, no need to be critical or judgmental about that. You simply notice it when you do notice it, and you'll go back to doing the exercise.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I often notice it's not so much that the thoughts completely stop, but they just get more transparent in a way, or like, I can see through them more.
Yep, yep. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yeah, I put it that they just go into the background, and then I
Yeah.
don't take any notice of them. But yeah, yeah.
And Matthias, just a question on your comment about watching the movie with your body. It ultimately, what's the purpose? Is it just to notice the body's reactions to drama, violence? What's the purpose?
Yes, just notice. Just feel the sensations. This will make you become more aware of your sensations. So a lot of people they have emotional numbness. I can't remember now the technical term for this, but this will help you to grow neural connections. White mass. So actually, your brain will interact more with your whole. I mean, your whole system will be more integrated. You will have more awareness of what you're feeling. And by
Yeah,
here, when I say feeling, I mean the body sensations, not the virtual emotions. Because actually, what we call emotions is just body sensation plus some thoughts, some words that we combine. Then we think this is an emotion, but actually they are virtual. Doing this exercise, you'll begin to drop more to the body sensations without them becoming emotions, you know?
yeah,
Mm.
yeah. I think actually because it kind of resonated with me because I think I've been doing a bit of that for a while because I know I don't react to things on the TV as much as I used to, and I notice my wife or the kids really reacting to things, and I'll always say to them, because they'll be actually distressed after stuff, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, it's a movie. They're actors. Look, you can't see the camera in front of us, ruining the film. But I'd always say to them, put 50% of your awareness in your body and watch the movie with the other 50. Like, so split it up just to kind of get them to be a bit more embodied watching it. So I think it's similar to what you're pointing at. But I'm going to check if I'm thinking or not as well, just to be clear.
It's a very
There's a, there's a perfect movie for this exercise. It's called Samsara from 2011. The movie has no dialogue, no narration, just a set of images that were designed purposely to evoke certain sensations in you. So you can just watch the movie, watch your reactions, and maybe the thoughts that you're having about those images. That's a very good movie for this. Samsara.
Okay.
yep.
There's there's something else I wanted to mention because it's a weird feeling. Like I'm noticing, just to give some background, like my wife and the kids are away, so I get to use the living room now, which I wouldn't usually do. I'll be upstairs, and I think I mentioned it before about being conscious of people around or walking by or noticing kids, wife, whatever. And even now with nobody here, there's nobody in the house. My awareness is out here. It's back there. I'm trying to make sure there's nobody here. There's nobody listening. There's nobody around me. I need nobody around me to be myself. And it doesn't apply to you guys in front of me. And I'm not even registering that this is going to be recorded and people are listening. It's about in the space now. Nobody can be around me for 10 miles back so I can be myself. Because if there's someone listening or walking by, I'm super, I'm hyper aware, I'm hyper cautious that people will hear me, and I'll be, you know, what's that fool talking about, or what's he on about? Just that sort of, and it's here now, and I'm really aware of it because there's nobody in the house.
Mm. Excellent. Excellent. Mm. So again, it's not about what comes up, it's about what triggered it. And that fool talking rubbish is probably where it is. It's underneath it.
Yeah, you're stupid. You don't know what you're talking about. You're a fool. You're a tick. You're useless. You're full of shit. All those things.
Mm.
Um,
Can you see how that came out of the past? It's not actually here in the present. You don't believe that now, do you? I mean, what you're talking about makes absolute sense to you, or at least sense, if not absolute. But that's not how you feel now, is it? That's something from the past.
if it's the past, but it's here now in a feeling.
Yep, yep, got it. Yeah, that's that somatic memory thing. Yeah, yeah.
And you were saying to me, kind of, you mentioned it a minute ago. What was I smiling at? And I've noticed when I'm on these calls, I tend to have a smile, and I'm not aware of it. It's like something's happy to be here, just generally. And even when I see myself, I'm like, what are you smiling about? Like, what? I'm like looking at me in the camera, going, why are you smiling? Like, there's nothing to smile about. But it's just a natural grin that kind of comes on, and I'm just sitting here. I'm enjoying listening to Kevin or Matthews. I've never met Matthews before, and he's talking. I'm enjoying that, and then Liam chimes in. I'm enjoying listening to people. I'm just smiling. Um,
So would you say that that was much more a body thing? What we were just talking about, it didn't come from your mental interpretation of anything. It's just the body smiling.
yeah, and it's also the body that wants that distance between me and people. The body wants space,
Yep.
nobody around. The body wants distance. Get away from me.
So does the word safety apply?
Yeah, probably, and probably psychological safety is what comes into my mouth.
Hmm. Well, it's certainly not physical safety. There's no threat to you. Even if they're around and they're saying you're an idiot, there's no threat. They're only words. But it triggers something that feels like physical safety, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's not physical. It's because I could pummel them if I wanted it, so it's not that. But it's that sort of, well, whether I'm full of shit or I think I'm full of shit, and they'll confirm it. So I don't have the right words.
Yep. No, that says it pretty clearly.
I was talking to my daughter today about stuff, and she was asking me how I was, and it was real weird because, she's only 21 and she's young, and she was like talking to me like a friend, or she was asking how I was, and because I've done this spiritual stuff for years too, and so she's aware of it, and she kind of said, "You think you might be maybe spiritually burnt out?" And I was like, "Probably." And I was saying it's what was going on and how it's been, and how disconnected it feels from what it was. And she was saying, "Well, you've helped me a lot with it. I've got a lot of help out of it." And I said, "Oh yeah." I said, "Other people seem to get great help out of it, but I don't seem to get any help out of it." And we were kind of laughing about it. So that was unusual to have that conversation with her.
Mm, pretty big. I just want to go back a minute to when Matthias was talking about that movie to watch. Oh, can you put it in the chat, Matthias? I've forgotten already what the title is.
Okay, I'll write down here.
Thanks. The it's a big thing. It's a really, really big thing. One of the things that everybody who comes to this is it's needs to learn. I don't know if that's right, but anyway, um, how much of what they take to be the real world is in fact a mental construction, and that they're relating to that mental construction as if it were actual and real. And the the example I use that works for me so far is you're walking along a path and you see a massive green sitting on a brown stick, and you go tree. And the moment you go tree, your brain creates this more than an image, but it's an image of a tree. Right? But it can be much more than just an image. But that's what you then relate to, unless there's some reason to go and relate to the actual tree. But you just relate to the image of a tree. And it's got to do with that the brain is a predictive organ. Right, and because of a labour saving thing, I mean, it's an amazing, amazing organ. You know, if we were to build a computer with the brain capacity, then the power supply for that would take up 2 blocks of buildings. You know, that's how much power. And yet our brain works on 20 watts or something ridiculously small, and yet it can do it. So anyway, but being a predictive organ, what it's very good at is taking a minimal amount of information and finishing the story. Right? So we only need to see green on brown and we go tree. We don't need to see the shape of the leaf. We don't need to see how much leaf is there. We don't need to see how much of the leaves are browning off and dropping off. We don't need to see any details at all. We get just 2 bits of information are enough for us to go tree. And then we relate to that image in our brain of the tree. And in most cases, how we will relate to it is we'll ignore it. We'll just walk past and we'll go, oh yeah, I'll walk past a tree. And if I said, what kind of a tree was it? You would have to reconstruct the memory and pull into focus, mental focus, details of it that you noticed but didn't notice, if you know what I mean. You noticed them, but you didn't realize that you'd noticed them because you didn't need to in order to come to the conclusion that it was a tree. So your memory might be able to, and we know this with hypnosis a lot, you can actually pull out stuff out of the memory that you never realized was there, simply because it is there, but it's not registered as being there. So this idea that most people go around relating to their idea of what's in front of them all the time, their idea of the person that's in front of them, their idea of whatever it is that's in front of them, not the actual thing. And this is common. This is how the majority of the world operate. For good reason. It works.
Yeah, two things came up for me there when you were talking. And that's again that thing I've been describing, the space I'm in and talking and stuff. I need people to think I'm perfect. I need to be perfect. That's something. Because growing up, I had to be perfect because there was so much imperfection around and chaos and problems that I need to be perfect. So that's there. I need to be perfect. And if anyone judges or criticizes, then I won't be perfect, and that fucking ruins everything.
Mm.
So I need to be perfect. And and I can't be perfect in the world, but in my own little disassociated bubble, I can be perfect. So it causes you to kind of move away from everything. And then that feeling behind me, I just had a memory of years ago. Like I want to move behind me and go into the kitchen and scream and shout at everybody that's not there to tell them all to fuck off and get away from me and move back and give me space. And the memory I'm getting is of when I was in a swimming pool and someone was pushing me down. They were messing, but I was, drowning essentially. And so that memory came back about being drowned or being pushed under.
Mhm.
So there's again that somatic memory of um, being pushed underwater.
And the really
So
big
I'm
thing,
a,
yeah,
I'm
needing,
aware of that, but I don't know what to do with it.
no, nothing to do with it. That simple awareness is the beginning of getting free of that. And the fact that that memory came back out of way back when, right, also gives you some solidity in the connection. Now you can see how that, I mean, you couldn't, I don't know, whenever in the past, you couldn't see the connection between that and wanting this space. You weren't even aware of wanting this space, perhaps. That this other people.
Yeah, it's like I'm expanding into the space more, and I can feel I need the space. I want the space. Like I did 15 years of martial arts to protect myself. After that, at some point, I got into martial arts and did a lot of martial arts to build up my confidence and make sure I could protect myself.
And you've probably never had to use it once.
Never, well, once, uh, once, but that was connected to my younger brother.
Hmm. So this, I'm being lighthearted, but I'm not being lighthearted here when I say this, Dennis. And that is, I've noticed that for about the last month or so, your hair hasn't been as perfect as it used to be.
Well, no, I think what's going on there, Vince, you're just maybe misreading the situation. I usually like have a wash or a shower when I brush my hair, so it's kind of slick and wet. But with different things happening in times, like I'll just once it dries, it becomes the way it is, which is the way it always is. 23 out of 24 hours. You just happen to see me after I get a
Oh,
shower and I sit down. So to you, it looks perfect. To me, it looks terrible. Now it's perfect. But anyway.
right. Okay, I get that. Oh dear. God, it's a bad
Dennis,
thing being wrong, isn't it?
may I suggest another exercise for you?
Of course.
When you are around your kids and your wife, try doing this. Just simply relax and don't answer, don't respond. Just do nothing and stays there. Relax all the bodies in all the bodies. I'm sorry, all the muscles in your body, and wait for them to just look at you and see how your body reacts to them waiting for an answer of you for an answer. Just do this for some seconds and notice the sensations, just that. Then you'll just say, okay, I'm sorry, I was just thinking about anything. But you must be fully aware of what you're doing. Try doing this. Do this and relax everything. Just stay there. I think it might help you with all this thing that you're going on.
Yeah, I'm even sensing, Matthias, I'm even imagining doing it and remembering my body in moments when people look at me, and I get this contraction in my torso and in my back of my heart and a tightness. And just saying that's triggering that sort of when people look at me, I'm under the spotlight, I'm seen. So that'll be interesting to try. Yeah.
And one thing that is very interesting, don't answer them. Just ignore, be fully aware, but ignore them for just a while, just some seconds. Then you
Mm.
can just say, oh, I'm sorry, I was just mind wandering. Try doing that. It
And
might
should I
help you.
look at them? Should I look at them while I'm ignoring them? Because at some point they'll talk to me and they probably won't even be
No,
looking at me. But when I don't respond, they will look.
okay, just look at them, but don't focus on them, on their
Yeah.
face. Just everything. Just see through them. Try doing that and just relax and stay for some seconds. Then you snap out of it and say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I was just mind wandering." But no, you were fully aware of that. I think this will help you.
And is the purpose to notice something within me or within them or both?
No, the purpose is for you to create awareness of yourself, because I get the sense that sometimes you're getting lost in the stories. And even though we are talking about sensing everything, you're still getting a little bit lost in the stories. Just feel it. And also,
Yeah.
uh, pay attention to this kind of thing of trying to find purpose in something. Don't think about that. Just be. Just let things happen. Don't search for a purpose or a meaning in what you're doing. Just do it.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely getting lost in the stories, that's for sure. And that one, finding purpose, that's definitely something. I look for purpose in things and striving and bettering.
Let me
And so
ask you
that, yeah.
something. What is purpose? Have you ever thought about that? What is purpose?
Right now, I would answer by saying it feels like an energetic contraction with a
And you
story
think that,
attached.
yes, and you think that by doing certain things, this contraction will relax.
Yes, with the story attached to it, if I complete the story or do the story or, whatever the story is, when I get the better job or when I clean the thing, then the contraction will go. Yeah.
But I don't know if you are already at that point, but someone already told you that time doesn't exist. The situation that you're creating right, in your mind is happening right now. The job you're imagining is happening right now. Your body is reacting to it, because actually the body doesn't know time. Time is just a concept. So you can just relax now. You don't need to wait for something to happen. You can just imagine it and relax, because time is a construct. There's no time. There's only change.
Yeah, I'm letting that sink in.
Yes, sure. Yeah, just go relaxing. That's all that you need to do, is just relax, and let just let everything flow in your body naturally.
Yeah, that feels like you're helping me or guiding me back to where I used to be a few months ago. Well, my mind is coming up with a problem because on Tuesday I have to do a presentation in this new job in front of a load of people, and it's kind of distracted my whole weekend because I've been practicing a little bit, but not enough, and I'm worried about the presentation and if I make balls of it and freeze up. So I'm like, there's always something next. That's when I get through that, I can relax. So you're saying you just relax now.
Yes, and these thoughts, when are they happening?
Now, well, not this
Exactly.
second, but they pop up.
Yes, no, that's it. They happen now. Every thought about the future or the past happens now. There's just now. There's no time. So you can see how everything that you're thinking about is an illusion. It's not real. You can't grasp it. You can't do anything about it. So just when the thought come, when it comes, just relax the contraction that you feel.
Yeah, that's helping.
Always remember this, that time doesn't exist. There's always now. You can't do anything in the future. You can do only now. And the only thing you can do now actually is relax.
Yeah, I mean, in truth, I could be dead tomorrow before I ever do the presentation on Tuesday. But I think it's connected to that. You talked about it last week, Kevin, that I don't know if it was
But how do you know
procrastination.
that you will be dead tomorrow? You're just projecting it. You're thinking about it. You're believing in the thought. You can't know it for sure.
Yeah, it's just a soothing thought to go against the reactive thought. Yeah.
Yeah, for me, purpose has to do with uh, having a purpose, having a self-esteem. Bottom line for me, if I just sat around on the street, you know, I don't know what would happen. Might self-combust or something. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that word purpose is big. I feel that too, Kevin. I feel
Mm.
like at the moment or lately, my purpose is dissolving and it's difficult to be with that.
Yeah.
Other people
Okay,
have purposes.
yeah. So while we're talking about projecting stuff into the future, the the nature of your thoughts is conditioned. So the glass half empty person is going to see a negative outcome, and a glass half full person is going to see a positive outcome when they project into purpose. So if you can step outside of the thoughts and notice that there are thoughts and that what their nature is, then you can immediately go to what's behind them. What's the purpose of the thought? Geez, I'm using that word purpose everywhere now. But yeah, that's a huge one. Thank you, Matthias. That's really big. I haven't focused on that before, and it's well worth it. It's always, of course, purpose is always in the future, isn't it? Yeah.
Is actually purpose also brings the idea that you're doing something for another thing. You're always redirecting, and it's never now exactly. It's always in the future. Or okay, I do this because of that. You know, the purpose of listening music is to have fun. The purpose of eating is to be alive. You're just connecting words. It has no substance, no essence. No, you're just repeating sounds in your mind. Purpose has no utility, real utility in our daily lives. Having a purpose is not useful.
So if you apply your new understanding of purpose to your speech, is it a speech, a presentation that you're going to do next week?
Yeah. Yeah.
Something I experienced quite a long time ago, well, even before waking up, was that the only preparation that's required for something like a presentation is just to have a complete list of points to cover. And then other than that, wing it. Just go in there and open your mouth and start. And you don't need to worry about how you appear. You don't need to worry about anything. It'll happen and it'll be okay. Are you
Yeah.
are you
The
brave enough to do that?
Oh yeah, I'm brave enough to go in and make a complete fool of myself. Yeah, definitely. If it happens, but they always go okay, and that's the historical facts that these have gone okay.
Yeah.
Um, it's just lately, and I don't know why. Maybe it's burnout or recovering or whatever. I forget names, I forget words, I forget things, and I'm awful afraid I'm gonna forget stuff and stand there like a fool forgetting
Well,
things, and then I become self-conscious, and then it'll get worse. So it's like,
so that's why you have your list of pointers,
yeah,
but you don't need any more than that. You don't need to get up and practice about how it's going to come out or what the delivery will look like or anything like that. That'll all be okay.
I just hope I have the courage to do the perform. It's a performance. It's a speech. It's a presentation. To just fucking do it and give it your best. And I don't care if people hate it if it's my best. But if you have to it, then you're more, could have done better. But yeah, look, it'll happen if it happens.
Mm,
I'll do a bit of practice tomorrow, a good bit, and see how it goes.
yep. And no matter how well it goes, you'll probably still be saying it could have been better. But then
Yeah.
just like that word focus on that, just like purpose, rather, focus on better. What does better mean? And all of a sudden that becomes something different when we actually look at what is better. Is better in terms of how you feel about it or how the audience feels about it. Is better in terms of how competent you were or what makes up better.
Well, it's just what we were talking about, your desire to be liked because you're putting yourself in front of everybody and you want to be liked. So
Their approval,
the
yeah.
desire to, yeah, the desire to be liked and the approval kind of ruins the whole affair.
Yep.
So you want to just do it and perform it without that desire or that
Dennis,
being there.
sorry, Dennis, you seem like a nice
Hmm?
person. I just want to share. People are like it anyway. And I had a performance the other day and spent the whole day learning something, ballsed it up completely, forgot the lyrics, started laughing, and I was beating myself up, and people loved it. People just like you. If you're a nice person, don't worry about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we forget how others see us. I do anyway.
Yep. And we're our
Speak for
own worst
myself.
critic, aren't we?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I am. Yeah.
Go back to Matthew's comment. Right now, there's nothing happening. I often thought about writing. I remember years ago, I used to do these tests about your skill sets. And I think as well, coming to terms with the fact that I have dyslexia and how difficult it was for the years, especially with reading. And that's interesting because Matthias said something earlier about really that guy, anyway, I've never heard of him, but you said something about really reading the words. And someone described, it was actually Pernilla described dyslexia as because she was trying to describe something else and she used it as an analogy that when someone normally reads, they skim and they can read quite quick. And my daughter's like that, she can read really fast. I have to read every word like I'm reading it for the first time. And it's so tiring. That's why I only read books I really want to read. So that might stand to me if I do decide to read some Gurich or whatever his name is,
Go, Jeff.
um, Gurdjieff.
Mm.
But the other thing was when I did tests years ago, my top two skills were either in IT or writing. And about 2 years ago, I was talking to my wife, we were out somewhere, and I kind of said, I was just looking at everything and I was watching people walk around building sites and I was looking at everyone. I was going, nobody's doing anything. Nobody's doing anything. How do those buildings get built? How does that thing get made? Nobody's doing anything. Look, he's just walking from there to there, but he's not doing anything. And there's nobody actually building anything. So I concluded that there was these things called blink fairies, that every time you blink, the fairies come out and do everything. So this is the book I'm going to write, a story for children about the blink fairies.
Great. Yeah, it
Because
sounds.
when I was younger, when the kids were small, I used to bring when they were going to bed, I used to tell them all these stories about the spider stories. And there were stories about kids who had turned into spiders and lived different lives and had all these adventures. And they loved them and they still talk about them today. So one of the things I wanted to do was have a shot at writing something, a book or a short story. And the one I want to kick off with is the blink fairies.
Yeah, good.
Because I still believe we don't do anything, and every time you blink, the blink fairies come out and get everything done. So there you go.
So does that dyslexia with reading translate to writing? When you're writing words, is it okay, or do you have to focus as hard?
I'll write stuff. There'll be easy words are hard to write. I'll first of all, writing. My handwriting is terrible. I write and then I can't read my own handwriting, so it's a waste of time writing. I have to write really slow if I want to have any way of remembering. So on the computer, I'll type, and yeah, I'll mistype. I'll put words. I'll read words backwards, and I'll read a word, and it'll say guerrilla warfare, and then I'll read it again. It's no, that's Jeremy or something. Like I'll just totally miss things. So yeah, reading and the writing of it is quite challenging and feels even harder these days.
Mm.
Um, but yet, because of it, if someone gives me something to read to proof, I can spot stuff quite quickly.
Yep. Yep.
Well, when they told me at
But yeah,
school that in the future there'd be autocorrect, and for that I'm really grateful. I'm here all week, guys.
Yeah. I mean, I type. My handwriting is shit too, but I taught myself to type a few years ago because I figured I'd be typing on computers quite a lot. So I went to the trouble of learning how to type, and I type at a reasonable speed. Um, Mind you, I was blown away. See, with this hand, I've got to do this kind of turn to reach the delete key with my little finger. And the delete key was the first key I learned, and it's the one that's most used because I type and I make mistakes, so I have to delete and fix it up. But anyway, now I forgot the point of the story. Yeah. Anyway, so what I'm uh, pointing out to you, Dennis, is the possibility, right? You can dictate now instead of typing, but you still have to check it because you know that it'll fuck up a lot when you just say the words. But dictating is one way to do it, and as much as computer voices are crap, um, you can get them to read everything as well. So you're listening and you're dictating rather than reading and writing. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I'll listen to a lot more news when I get it to read. Some apps and articles have you little earphones where it'll read it for you, so you don't have to bother reading it. Yeah,
But there is a difference too. You know, you're so one of the really good things about writing is that it slows your thought process down. Well, maybe it doesn't slow it down, but there's there's probably a lot more thoughts in the space of writing a word than there would be if you were saying the word. And the consequence is that you get a lot more time to consider what it is you're writing. So writing something down is a good way of getting to a place, because it's slow, because it gives you time to contemplate as you're doing it.
yeah.
But
I think sometimes there's a gift in it in the reading. When I read books, it's like I drink the book in deeply.
yeah,
And I can't imagine how it is for other people, but I know from talking to my wife and daughters that they can read really quick, but I don't know that it goes deeply in. And they've even said it, yeah, no, if they really want to take something in, they have to slow down and kind of.
Absolutely, yeah, yeah, that's a big one. Yeah, I mean, I always read really quickly because I read a lot as a kid. I mean, I read a book every day when I was young, um, and so I had a lot. Yeah, and but I frequently found myself I'd get to the end of a page and I'd go to turn the page over and I'd go, you know what, you read that, but not a single thing went in. And I'd have to do it all over again, you know. So it's amazing how you can actually read something, but you're not reading it at all. You know, your eyes are going on the words and the words, whatever, but they're not actually impacting you in any way. That can also, so that's a big thing. And a lot of people experience that apparently. Nobody mentions it much, but yeah, it does. It is a
I
real,
remember someone talking about that once, and they were kind of saying that if you read and you come to a word you don't understand and you continue, your brain just can't hear anything after that. You need to go back and get that word and understand it. I hear that, whether it's true or not.
mm. Well, I'm thinking about winding up, hey? Oh, Kevin's going, so that was synchronicity.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Okay, see you later.
Thank you. Thank you. See ya. Bye.
See you, Kevin. Yeah, it's actually an hour earlier, Vince, like in Europe and England, Ireland. So like it actually feels better to come on at 8 instead of 9, whereas it's the same time, I think, for you at the moment.
Okay, yeah, all right. Yeah, no, we just went into daylight saving 2 weeks ago or a week ago. I don't remember, but recently. Um, so now, whereas it was 6 a.m. for me, now it's 7 a.m. Right now, but the 9 p.m. my time Saturday night. I'm going to put that back an hour because it's getting too late for a lot of people. Um, so if I put that back an hour and the others can stay at the same time, so that's good that that suits you that time, eh?
So it's Saturday night for you now, is it?
No, no, no. For me, it's
Oh,
it's
you
I'm
mean the other meeting? So the other meeting for me is on at 12 in the 12 daytime. So if you're going to put that back, yeah, that's fine. That's 11. That's fine. And this one's good because you don't have to get up as early and we don't have to stay up as late.
yeah, yeah, good. All right. So we'll keep this one here. Yeah, yeah, because I figured half the world is now going back into standard time. So yeah, it's a mind boggle what the talking with my daughter about it, and we were saying the clocks go forward. No, they go back. No, they go forward. And we couldn't work out what, you know, she was pretty clear about it. And she was right. I was wrong. But it's kind of get with us going back in, us going forward into summertime and you guys going back into standard time. It sounds like it should be at the same time as it used to be, but it's actually 2 hours different in some
Wow. Yeah.
places. it's,
Yeah.
it's, a, it's a real mind boggle. But anyway, yeah. All right. Good one. Okay. All right. Well, I'll see you later.
See you guys.
See you, Matthias.